Little new music roundup. We haven't done that in a while. It was a
Yeah.
pretty big release. The last couple weeks, some big releases came out, and we're going to hit on a few of them. Where do we want to start?
So when you're hearing this, a lot of these releases came out about a week ago. The ones that we're going to hit on the most. We've talked about Turnstile a few times because we brought up Turnstile during our best of 2021 so far. Just the EP there that they put out, which was kind of a teaser for the album. The album dropped, right? So it's now. If you're hearing this, it's early September. The album's been out for about a week plus, and I mean, damn, it did not disappoint, right?
Oh, it's awesome. And I know we heard that what was like an EP that had
Yeah.
a few teaser songs, and it had like that whole, and I'm going to keep quoting this, like the Reading Rainbow vibes. I didn't realize that was going to kind of transcend throughout the whole album, which is kind of cool. So it's basically like there's a sequence in and out of all the songs, which I thought was really cool. Speaking of 311, Nick Hexum actually gave them a big prop post, or maybe it was just a story on the album and the band a few weeks ago, or maybe I think it was the week that I was in Maine. So not to tie it back to 311, but everyone's listening. And yeah, man, I'm a fan. I listen to it pretty heavily because it's such an easy album to listen to. It's like a sing-along album. Speaking of live shows, I feel like that would actually be a very good album in its entirety translated to a live show, which I rarely say because you obviously want to hear more than just one album. But the way it flows together as a collective unit would be kind of neat to see that in show.
Check Twitter, check YouTube. There's clips from their recent few shows, and it's pretty wild. Like, great stage presence. They've always been known for the live show, and I think these songs, from what I heard, translate very well. Yeah, I love this record. It's a great record. I think the production is next level, and it's super polished. And for a band like them, it can go one of two ways. It can be like, all right, this is a polished turd, or it can enhance the experience. And I think that's what it does. I don't think it takes away from the essence of them as a band. I think it enhances them. I think a lot of people were like surprised by this record, or like I saw some chatter online like this is the sellout record or whatever. It's like, fuck that. They've been on Roadrunner for a couple albums now. If you look at the trajectory, like, this makes sense. Like, go back and listen to Time and Space. Go back to listen to Nonstop Feeling, where they kind of channeled 311, tying it back to 311 again. It makes sense. Like, even on Time and Space, there's that quirky interlude called Bomb, which would fit right on the money with Glow On. And like, they've been that band from the hardcore scene for years. Like, Pitchfork has always loved them. They were on Coachella 3 years ago. Like, this is... I don't see any other direction but this album for them. And I'm like, I don't know them, but I'm fucking stoked for them because I think this is a good thing.
I mean, you knew them before this, right, Twan?
Yep.
Yeah, see, I did not know them very well. I've heard the name. Maybe I'd heard a song. Maybe, you'd mentioned them. Who knows? There have been some kind of touch points for me, but it's never been something that I've sought out. And then the EP drops, and I listened to a couple songs because a bunch of people have been talking about it, got some buzz, and now I'm a full-fledged fanboy. Like, it brought in people like me who like hardcore in certain instances, but this is like what the production aspect is. It's definitely a choice, and I think it works really well for them, just like you said. And it's because of things like bringing somebody like me in, maybe even you, Nate, where there are totally aspects of the hardcore scene here, but it's so accessible. It's so, it's glossy, it's polished, it sounds really nice. And then you get something like that Reading Rainbow effect that you said, Nate, and to kind of give you into the next song, and the next song will kick your ass. Like, especially live, I'm sure. Like, there's some breakdowns that, like, I want to see TLC live so bad because I want to just see everybody jumping off the stage. I've seen videos on Twitter. I want to be at that. I want that to be part of my life. And whenever they come around, I'm going to try to see it because of it. So yeah, I think this is a great play for them, just because it was a next step to get more people on board. And I don't think they lose who they are because of it. Cause I've gone back and listened to some of the older stuff since, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I can see how they got here, and I'm glad they did because it brought me in.
I love your assessment. I just started thinking about it in my head just now, and it reminds me of the band Kings of Leon when they came out with Only by the Night. That was like 4 albums in, I say maybe 3. I think it was 4, but their albums before it are super grassroots Tennessee rock and roll, whereas Only by the Night also is, but it has that kind of mainstream-esque point to it where it brought in people like me. I didn't know about the band beforehand and became a giant fan ever since. But it's like, it's not really a sellout move. It's really just where they are in their career. And if it's label pressure or whatever it is, it's not even a sellout move. It's like, well, A, it's their career. So it's like, if you don't want to move more units, like, well, shit, like that's what they do for a living. Secondly, like, I feel like once you've already kind of paid your dues up until that point, like it's natural progression. I think you said that, Twan. Like, you know, it's not like selling out. It's really just like, this is where we are. This is the music we're making. This is the age that we're at currently. And we're going to make music that we feel good about. And if it happens to transcend to new people like you and I, Tone, even better. So it's really, you know, it'd be different if it was like a Coldplay Shotgun Blast, like, this is our overproduced album, buy it, buy it, buy it. It's on Target ads everywhere. Like, that's a different kind of realm of in your face. But this is like, we've already paid our dues. This is where we're at today. If you like it, awesome. If you don't, that's fine too. So I think this is a perfect album. And timing wise, like, it's not like they've been working this hard for nothing.
Yeah. And the parallel that I have in my head is, I don't know if you guys know this band, but there was a band on Bridge 9 in the mid 2000s. They were called Ceremony. And each album was kind of a shift slowly away from really aggressive hardcore punk. Like, the singer was fucking a madman. I saw him a bunch of times back in the day, Henry Rollins Jr. And then in the early 2010s, they moved to Matador Records, that's like who Julian Baker's on now. And they put out this like really indie shoegazy album, and it was like totally unexpected. And a lot of people that I saw online are comparing what Turnstile did to that, and it's just not, I don't think it's that big of a leap. And I just keep going back on that. It's like you saw it with Title Fight when they put out Hyperview. It was like kind of a shoegazy hum worship album, which I can see that was a big leap, but Turnstile I don't see as a big leap.
I'm kind of surprised that I mentioned this in text, but I didn't really give it its due to explain it. That there aren't more hardcore bands or bands of this ilk, not necessarily even hardcore, maybe punk, maybe, you know, adjacent, that haven't tried something like this. I feel like they're doing it the best, so maybe that's why maybe there are bands that are doing it, but that's why I haven't noticed it. But I think like there's some elements of like Duran Duran and like 80s synth pop on here that like just
totally.
Yeah.
What other hardcore band is going to pull that off? Or what other hardcore punk band or punk band in general is pulling that off? Not many. So maybe that's a testament to them, that they're just doing it well. But I haven't noticed a lot of it. And Twan, you'd be better off explaining that than me. But I don't think a lot of bands do this because maybe it would piss some people, some hardcore enthusiasts that are just like, stay in your lane, I want to do that, off. But fuck, man, like, why not bend the genre a little bit and do something a little different?
Yeah. No, I mean, if you read the blogs and you read Reddit and Twitter and all that shit, no, there's a lot of people like that. Yeah, and I think it's a timeless record. And I think that gets back to the way it was produced. I'm trying to think if anyone's done it like that. I mean, in the mid-90s, Roadrunner had a thing with like Shelter, and I don't know if Civ was on Roadrunner or if they were on I know they were on Revelation, but they kind of straddled that line of like hardcore roots but trying to branch out there a little bit. I feel like this is the most seamless, and even when you add in that synth, you know, the synth pop or whatever you want to call it, it still works. But cool record, cool fucking record.
Very cool record. Yeah.